Hey everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Tom Hoblin.
And wow, what an exciting weekend at Sonoma Raceway. The repave really showed off. We saw speeds getting broken. Everyone was going way faster with the repave. It was great to see a lot of action on the track. But Tom, before we get into all that, let's start off with our diecast of the week. What you got for us today, buddy?
Greg Biffle. No
All right.
reason. Pulled him out of the box. Greg Biffle fire paint scheme.
Love it. Man,
That's all.
I love it. That
I can't
hood
tell you
looks
when this
awesome.
ran, what track. Greg Biffle.
Yeah, I love it. Greg
Anyway.
Biffle. That's it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Not much else needs to be said. Greg Biffle.
There you go. Yeah, for my diecast of the week, Ross Chastain's running the corn car this weekend for Busch. They're running
Good.
in Iowa, so I thought
Isn't
I'd
it-
bust out another.
Isn't it something like the Iowa Corn 350 or something?
It is.
Yeah.
So
That
I thought I had to bust out Kevin Harvick's 2020 Atlanta win paint scheme when he had the For the Farmers
very nice.
paint scheme on there. One of my favorites. That was just his year of dominance, but couldn't make it into the Final Four.
Mhm.
Yeah, what a beauty. I always love the For the Farmers car. It's pretty damn cool, and now a real farmer actually gets to drive it, so I think that's even
Yeah.
cooler.
Yeah, it's an extra little touch, but he doesn't do corn. He needs to get in the corn game, it seems.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. So let's talk some top stories. Last week we were saying that it's looking like Martin Truex Jr. could hang it up. He's kind of in limbo right now with his decision making, and we were saying Noah Gragson could be that guy that would take the 19. Well, now Kevin Harvick, he is saying that Chase Briscoe could be that guy going over to the 19, which is very surprising. I thought he would maybe kind of stay in the Ford camp, but looks like Toyota kind of likes the way he drives. I mean, he's great. He's just been running with mediocre Stewart-Haas Racing for the past few years. We saw what he did in the Xfinity series. Dude was on top of the world. So this would be a great landing spot for Chase Briscoe.
I think it'd be a great opportunity for him. He's now getting towards the middle port. He's at the end of the early portion of his career. He's a Cup veteran. He's a proven winner. And I think a company like Joe Gibbs Racing could take a talent like that and move it forward. I guess Joe Gibbs has given Martin Truex an ultimatum. He's saying sooner rather than later, tell me whether you're staying or whether you're going. So
Yeah. You want to know about your future with how your team is going to go like real soon because you don't want to plan for it real late. So, yeah,
right.
good on Joe for giving Martin that ultimatum because it needs to be done because
I can also
he
tell that Kyle Busch fans are punching the air because I've been seeing stuff all over social media like, well, if Martin goes one more year and then RCR doesn't take his third year extension, then Kyle can go back to the 19, which they'll rebrand for the 18. No, stop, guys.
it's
It's
not happening.
ridiculous.
There's no way he's
No,
going back. It's
no. I will.
that
I'll
ship has
do
sailed.
something. I'll do something silly on this podcast if Kyle Busch ends up back in a Joe Gibbs car for a full season.
Okay.
It'd be ridiculous. I don't know what silly I would do, but it have to be
Silly for
something
you.
ridiculous.
We'll have you go down the Talladega Boulevard again. How about
Oh God.
that?
Oh, oh my goodness.
So that's a deal. All
Yeah, Kyle's not going,
right.
but again, the interesting thing is Martin Truex, whether or not he wants to hang it up, he's still having a great year, even in the midst of having some terrible luck. But he's having a great year, and if he's not having fun, there's no need for him to stick around. But if he's having fun, like running third or fourth in the points, fourth or fifth, ability to win another championship, why not stick around while you still got it?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that also led more rumors going to Noah Gragson possibly going over to Richard Childress Racing. Um, we know that charter deal is up in the air right now, and we know a lot of teams are kind of looking at Stewart-Haas Racing to acquire another charter. And a lot of rumors are saying Noah will go over to Richard Childress Racing just because of his partnership with Bass Pro. They know they like Austin Dillon as well. So would be a good partnership. but just as a Noah Gragson fan, I do not want that. Just
As a
seeing the
Kyle Busch fan, I
performance.
can tell the Noah Gragson fans that you don't want that.
No, no, we do not want that. The performance has been so down for Richard Childress Racing this year. It's pretty pathetic from what they were able to do last year in that 8 car, and now it's they're struggling to get into the top 10 at this point. Um,
But
yeah.
there's something that Noah Gragson has the capability of taking a car like that and getting the most out of it and whatnot. Richard Childress has the relationship with Johnny Morris and Bass Pro. So there's an opportunity maybe to get Austin out of the seat and rebrand the 3 car and keep Bass Pro on there. There's an opportunity, like I just said, Kyle Busch sounds like he signed a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. So there's a sense they buy a 3rd charter and then they don't re-sign Kyle Busch and bring Austin Hill up after next season. So then you have Austin Dillon, Noah Gragson, Austin Hill as your lineup at RCR, and that's pretty stout lineup. So there's a couple of pathways for Gragson to end up at RCR. And I don't know what that team needs. I know what my driver needs. I know Kyle Busch needs practice, which we saw this week. He ran really, really well because they had
Mhm.
a full practice session to dial in the car. Kyle Busch needs practice and good teammates. So as much as you don't want to see it, I think I'd be okay seeing Noah Gragson in as a teammate to Kyle Busch. Just
Yeah.
somebody else they can work with and try to build setups with. And Noah Gragson's running well this season.
Yeah,
So that
and
would
it's
give me hope.
comparable. It's comparable equipment with Stewart House Racing and RCR right
Mm-hmm.
now, I would say. So yeah, Noah would run the hell out of those cars. But man, I just want that Joe Gibbs Racing rumor to be true with Noah going over there.
Yeah,
That
that
would
would be. I think that would, as a fan for you, that would be a much better enjoyment week to week than it would be for RCR. You get the potential for this one-off wacky win versus you're an equipment you can do something with every day. But
exactly.
you wonder what kind of pressure that puts on a driver too. Is can a driver handle that? Which we know Noah can, running that Junior Motorsports 9 car for so long and winning all the time in it. But you just wonder maybe he struggled in the Toyota camp. I guess it wasn't Toyota camp, was he? They were switching to Toyota.
Oh, when he was with
But yeah,
Legacy,
yeah, he
that's yeah,
struggled with Legacy. So is it a Cup Series performance thing, or is it a Noah thing, or is it a Legacy thing?
yeah,
There's lots more variables than just like put in car equals good driver.
yeah.
So
Lot of variables that go into this. So that's why I love silly season, man. This shit just keeps on rolling. And probably the silliest of silly season news that we got is this charter deal that NASCAR and the NASCAR
oof.
teams have been trying to put this together for years and years and years, and it's coming to crunch time. We got to put in a new deal before the next season starts, and a lot of the teams are not happy. Adam Stern tweeted about it this morning and posted an article. Said NASCAR teams are frustrated with NASCAR's slow response to the charter deal. 2 weeks ago, they got the worst deal that they've ever seen, which included giving the France family control to own a team, just like Roger Penske in IndyCar, which I'm not going to be a fan of because then that just means that they're just saying that they're ready to replace teams if they leave.
You know, it would be funny on the flip side of that is if the France family decided to get into the racing side of the business and then they just absolutely run like shit every day.
Yeah,
That might bring some. They're like, oh, and there's the France car finishing last again. Like
right.
that would be some I don't know, karmic joy for fans. But no, this is concerning for sure. And it's very complicated. You have the one aspect of all the teams were steadfast in not accepting a poorly termed deal. But then why would a team like Front Row go and purchase a charter that's allegedly not going to exist? So you have that aspect. So are some of the smaller teams starting to tip and feel, hey, maybe we should sign this and keep going? We got a good thing. But you don't want NASCAR taking advantage of these teams. On his show today, Eric Estep pointed out that the franchise deal if you want to call it the franchise deal in NASCAR, is worse than trying to buy a WNBA expansion team. You could buy into NASCAR for cheaper right now than to buy into the WNBA. And nothing against the WNBA. What they're doing is great. They're having incredible growth right now. But NASCAR's been around 2-3 times longer than the WNBA, and they don't have these established teams and these established brands and the established franchises that a company in the WNBA has. You buy a team in there for $50-60 million now. And a charter's going for what, 20-25 right now. So, and that's just a charter. I mean, sure, Joe Gibbs Racing, you stack 4 of those together, there's $100 million franchise. But it's very complicated. At least I'm not super concerned yet. There's opportunities for them to do a short-term deal before they get a long-term deal inked in, but it's starting to get to the tipping point, get on the edge of what happens if we go into next season without it. Do we see teams not show up for the Daytona 500? What does that look like? If NASCAR wants to control all this and Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs don't want to show up, NASCAR still has these strict regulations on what these cars. It's not like you take a showroom Camry, and show up to the Daytona 500 next year with proper safety stuff. No, you have to buy these kit cars and prep them and put a spec engine in it. So it's not like if these other teams leave, other people can jump in and try to enter a car. It's not like the old days like that. So it's to a point where like you start to really think, what happens if there's no deal? What happens if these teams don't have to show up to these races? Where do we go from here? I'm not concerned, but maybe other folks are.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting concerned about this. Because NASCAR team owners and drivers are just getting very mad at this point because right now is the biggest silly season of all time. Like a lot of drivers are moving to new places. We got Stewart Haas Racing closing down,
Yeah,
and
teams fundamentally are being shaken up.
Yeah, teams are being shaken up. They want to buy these charters. Some teams want to go to 4 cars. Like Denny Hamlin has said from the beginning, he wants to make this a 4-car team.
Yeah, he
But
built
right
that
now,
facility to be 4 cars.
yeah, exactly. And now they're just stuck in limbo. Like, man, are we able to buy this? And then Front Row just bought a car. Like, oh, whatever, we'll spend the 25 million. But guys like Denny Hamlin, Dale Jr., everyone else, they don't want to spend this money. And if they can't get this done in a certain amount of time, we're gonna have some kind of rebellion on our hands here.
Right.
I don't know to what kind of scale, but we have seen this happen with the IndyCar series back in the 90s with the kart when they split off with the kart series and all that. It was ridiculous. It ruined ratings for years. IndyCar still has not recovered. Their
They're
marketing
still
strategy.
trying.
Yeah, their marketing strategies are awful. Really, the only race where you get like a good amount of viewership where it can at least get to NASCAR's level is the Indy 500, just because that's the most watched race in the world, is the oldest race in the world with automobiles. And
I
I don't
will
want
say
to.
on a side note, if you're not watching the full IndyCar season, what are you doing? It's good stuff. They put on a good
It's
show. They raced
best
at
open wheel racing of all
they
time.
raced at Road America this week, and it was so good.
It
It was
was
so good.
chaotic. I
It was
loved
so
it.
good.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's the charter thing is scary, and basically what it comes down to is that one family has been in charge of NASCAR since its beginning, and they don't want to give up control. They don't want to make these charters permanent. The teams want to know. Take Denny Hamlin, for example. He built that beautiful building. He's building out. He is investing in the sport, and he wants NASCAR to acknowledge that he matters, that what he's doing matters, and that it all wasn't just a big waste of money. And I think for most fans in the 90 percentile care more about the drivers and the teams than they do about NASCAR. If Joe Gibbs and Hendrick Motorsports in 2311 and Penske don't like the deal and they say, we're just going to go race these cars that we've made elsewhere, do you think that fans will tune in to whatever's left of NASCAR or where
No,
these big names and big teams are going, wherever
they
they
want to
want to
watch
race?
their drivers. We don't watch
Mm-hmm.
for the NASCAR product. We have a connection with all these drivers. We build like this sort of relationship with them, and we bond with them over the television. It's crazy. We're not gonna watch something else where our drivers are not in. We're gonna spend our Sundays watching our boys race. NASCAR is ridiculous if they think that this is gonna work out well for them.
Right. I mean, the average fair weather fan does not know the name Wayne Aughton, does not really know the name Ben Kennedy. I mean, I'm trying to think of other executive names right here. It's just I'm not right now. But again, I could list almost any driver in the Cup Series right
Yeah,
now, and I will
exactly. I'm
tune
not
in.
watching the France family product.
No, exactly. So I mean, unless they get a charter next year.
Yeah, then I'll be
But
all for it.
here's the other thing. NASCAR has always retained the right to reclaim a charter of teams that weren't performing. We've just never
Mhm.
seen them use that right. So they've always had the right to take in a charter. And then I'm sure they would start a bidding war for it. They would just sell it right off again to whoever wanted to give them the most money for it. But it's something like if you are the lowest 3 or 4 drivers in points or cars in points in owners points for a consistent amount of time, then NASCAR could take away your charter, which we haven't seen it do. So I don't know why everybody's getting all up in arms. What I did hear is that the 3-team thing was not included in this new charter agreement.
Mhm.
There isn't the 3-team cap anymore.
I think that's good. I think it's good
Right.
not. I don't think there should be a cap at all for the teams. Honestly, if you want to
Hmm.
spend all that money and get 6 cars like what Roush Fenway did back in the day, go ahead, do it. Use it to your power.
Yeah. There's a spending cap part of this. The only thing is that like I'm not ready to watch a series where there's 800 cars and 5 Joe Gibbs cars. And I mean, even again, Penske has run 3 cars for years and they were still dominant. Um, this is a lot of like just the business aspect, but people aren't going to realize how much this affects our viewing experience every day. They basically want these charter agreements to coincide with the media rights deal. And NASCAR's saying that we can't help the teams if the teams aren't fully on our side because we're the ones that make the money on the media rights.
Yeah, they
And the teams are saying we could go get media rights. We put on a good show. We can do this and this and this. And it'll be interesting to watch. I think everybody comes to their senses. I mean, it's a compromise in the end. NASCAR's going to have to give up a little. The teams are going to have to give up a little. Um, and hopefully the fans don't suffer.
Yeah. I feel like the teams aren't really asking for much either. I feel like they're asking for what's pretty fair for them. 45% of traditional media revenue and receiving 33% of new revenue and guaranteed seat at the table to give teams some governor power. So
Right.
that's
But
huge.
historically, NASCAR has never given up that much leverage. Big Bill
Mm,
France always would just sit you down and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You like it or you don't. You can
yeah.
leave if you don't. And NASCAR is betting that the Joe Gibbs, the Rick Hendricks are going to say, well, we're not going to do anything else, so we'll just agree eventually. And I'm not so sure that some of those teams will do that. We know for
No.
sure 2311 won't do that.
Oh, hell
2311,
no. With how
Denny will turn
stingy
around
Denny
and
Hamlin is,
yeah,
hell
Denny will turn
no.
around and sell his two charters and fire his 2 drivers before he's ready to play NASCAR's little game here. So it's just something we're gonna have to wait and see, and all we can do in the meantime is speculate about.
Yeah, for sure. So gonna be a wild ride to see how this one cools down, but can't wait to see, and we'll keep you guys updated with how it goes. But let's get into our Sonoma review, Tom. It was an exciting weekend in wine country for NASCAR. We had the second annual Xfinity Series race at Sonoma Raceway. And our
Excellent
boy,
cars for this track. Excellent cars
oh
for this
yes,
track.
fantastic racing with the Xfinity Series at
Hmm.
Sonoma. And our boy Shane Van Gisbergen won the pole for this race. He's just lights out all
Hmm.
the time at these road courses.
By
It,
multiple tenths, multiple
yeah,
tenths. He's fast and he figures it out fast.
yeah,
And again,
and
these aren't the cars that were built similarly to the Australian supercar, the V8s.
nope.
These are the H pattern Xfinity cars. Hang your own bodies, build your own chassis. These are completely different animal, and he's still quick in them, and that's what's scary.
Yeah, this guy can adapt real fast. And plus, I don't think he's ever been to Sonoma Raceway as well. So first time out there, and he was able to
Hmm.
just go lights out and win the pole. So
Yes.
SVG, he is the man. And thank you to all of our Kiwi followers from last week. We saw all of your comments. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. We're gonna have way more Shane Van Gisbergen content. The guy is just awesome. How can you not love him?
Yeah, I mean, he's putting himself in the conversation every week, and as long as he's up there and fighting for it, we're going to be talking about him. And now he's a
Absolutely.
two-time Xfinity winner. He's no slouch,
Yep.
and that's
Back to back.
exactly the reason why Trackhouse brought him in, because we have a significant amount of road courses now in all the series we run, and he's going to show up and he's going to compete, and that's exactly why he's there. That's why they ran him in Chicago last year. That's why he won Chicago last year, and why he's now living in the States running this full time.
Yep. He's living the dream right now, doing big things. And he won stage one, held off Ty Gibbs before that 19
Holy
pulled
cow.
into pit road. They had a hell of a battle there.
Both those guys, I mean, just they ran away with it in that first stage. It was nuts. It was like, oh man, is Ty gonna get him? Ty gonna get, and I was so like transfixed on the battle of the 19 and 97. Ty was just right there lurking like he was gonna pounce the whole time. And I look at the rest of the timing and score, it's like, oh, they're 11 seconds ahead of the field. This race is gonna be a snoozer, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was the opposite of that. So Ty Gibbs wins stage two, and then we had a big stack up. Jeb Burton spins the 81, Chandler Smith, and collects many, many cars, stacks them all up. Ty Gibbs wrecks as well, and it seems he kind of threw a little bit of a hissy fit there, doing a
Oh,
burnout, and while he was doing it, wrecks his teammate of Chandler Smith. It's like, man, you gotta cool the fuck down. Like you're not even racing for points for
we've
this shit, man.
we've talked so much last year about the difference between Xfinity Ty Gibbs and Cup Ty Gibbs, and it's so funny that it still exists.
Yeah.
Like he's still the pissed off teenager in Xfinity, and then on Sundays he's just the gentlemanly driver that's going to go out there and do his best but not get in anybody's way. It's honestly fantastic that that trope still travels beyond time. It's just
Yeah.
like Xfinity Ty Gibbs, he's a menace, and he if you get in his way, it's your fault. And we saw it again. It was ridiculous.
Yep. Ty Gibbs, the Xfinity Series menace. It continues on.
I want to see more of his I didn't see too much video about his altercation with Boris Said, but Boris Said got out of the car after the race and had some very choice words I saw in a video, but I didn't see any replays attached to it. But
Yeah,
I guess him and Boris were going to add it after that wreck, which I saw one little bit immediately coming into turn 4 after that wreck, but
mhm.
nothing else later.
Oh, Boris, man, he
Hmm.
had a rough day. I don't know if this is gonna be. I think that might be his last ride in Xfinity Series car. He did not look good out there. He wrecked his primary car. They had to get a Junior Motorsports backup car, and he could not even crack the top 20 for most of the race. It was sad.
He's
Um,
he's 61 years old. Let him
yeah,
have some fun.
he's 61 years old, but
He's Red
man,
Farmer out there.
I guess I don't know about that, man. He's like Red Farmer's like 93
Yeah.
or something. He's still running races.
If Boris
Yeah,
Said isn't running Xfinity races in his 90s, then what are we doing?
yeah, right. I don't want
Keep
to live
putting him
in
in the
that world.
car. I will keep watching.
Yeah, I just thought maybe he would do a little bit better, especially with that kind of equipment he was in. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's just going to be some fun runs for him in those cars, I guess.
Oh yeah. Still good to have him on the crew though,
Oh yeah, yeah, but he's a fun guy. Uh, then we got a weird caution. Jesse Love came off the track, and NASCAR for some reason just threw the caution. It was just by himself.
I didn't like it, but I understand it. I didn't like the call. It was in turn 10. It's the high speed portion. They're coming off
Blind
the
corner.
S's, kind of blind.
Hmm.
Um, I still didn't think it was needed, but it created something interesting for us to talk about.
Yep, that's for sure. With 11 to go on the restart, Shane Van Gisbergen goes for it. Austin Hill left a small hole into that turn and moves Austin Hill out of the way and took the lead. Austin Hill fell back, and SVG was just on his way, gone. Tom, I think that was a great move. He's learning what it's like to bump and bang his way through NASCAR. Exactly something what Austin Hill would have done, and Shane Van Gisbergen
Mhm.
has not forgotten about Coda.
This this moment, this restart here. Again, last week on this preview show, I said if Shane doesn't figure out restarts, he will not win this race. And look what he did. He figured out the restart. He got out there and he did what any other driver would do. We saw it with Denny Hamlin at Pocono last year in the Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson bit where Denny is like, well, you're either going to run into the wall or you're going to concede the position. Again, he drifted up the track. Austin didn't go off the track. Austin just had to lift. And again, basically, this is what Austin did to him at turn 1 at COTA.
Yep.
And this is why Trackhouse will buy a third charter from Stewart-Haas Racing. Granted, the charter deal gets figured out. If there's no charter deal, then sure, we'll see Shane running full-time in points without charter. But Trackhouse will buy a Stewart-Haas charter and put that 97 car on the track full-time in Cup next year with Shane Van Gisbergen, because he can go out there on any one of these road courses and do just this and finish 16th in points and get that much extra money for a 20th place car, 25th place points car. He can finish 16th and get Trackhouse that money. Shane Van Gisbergen will go to Cup this year because of this 2-race stretch.
Yeah, I really do believe that he's proven that he can just win with different kinds of cars on different kinds of track, on different kinds of road courses.
There's this discourse that Shane has always been this way. He's always been over aggressive in V8 supercars. Every time he wins, I see the Twitter trolls put out the highlight videos of him just wrecking balling through the V8 series. But again, this is how NASCAR is done and has always been done and will continue to be done. NASCAR doesn't involve themselves with on-track altercations. They don't like to call penalties. They don't like to call aggressive driving, nothing like that. This is how we do it here. And that is the biggest lesson that any of these outsiders that come into this series and want to race need to learn. I mean, we saw it with Jenson Button for the few races that he ran. I remember his first COTA race. Jenson Button, who's an F1 world champion, comes off the track and he goes, these guys are on it every time. They're 100% aggression every time because they know when the cars are stacked up against each other, they need to gain the positions and they are not afraid to run you over to do it, especially if you're a newbie. So Shane has now learned this lesson. He learned it at COTA. He applied it at Portland and then got his revenge at Sonoma. I mean, look at his car coming off of Portland. That thing was used up. This car had a bunch of scuffs on it and again, he played it perfectly up that hill into, what was it, turn 2A? I don't even know the naming conventions. There's somehow 11 turns at Sonoma, but you go from 4 to 7. I don't really get it. Yeah. But going up the hill, Shane used exactly the amount of track, exactly the amount of left side of his car that he wanted to use. And it helped that it was Austin Hill, because he's also learning that it's hard to get rid of a NASCAR grudge.
Yep.
And a NASCAR rivalry. And I'm excited for the 21-97 rivalry that was born in COTA and cemented into history at Sonoma. It's just a really solid way. And a really, again, I think Shane, they're going to do what they can to put him in the Cup Series. Because again, he's not young. It cracks me up every time that the Xfinity broadcasts are like, look at how good these rookies are going. And here's Shane Van Gisbergen. Like, he's a 3-time champion in his series.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair to put him in the same realm as the Xfinity rookies, but they have to because he got the yellow stripes on his bumper. But he knows how to put a car on the track, and now he's not fully learned how to use the car offensively in a NASCAR style, but he's right there, and we saw it this week. Now just get your reps on the oval, but again, he's not young. He doesn't have 10 years to develop his oval racing skills. You got to put him in next year. And again, hope he can get you that 1 or 2 road course wins to put you in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well said. This guy is just ready to do some damage up in the Cup Series. I'm excited. So after all that, we had Sheldon Creed coming up, wheel hopped and spinned AJ Allmendinger. He was already kind of having a rough day. He was able to come up through the field with that late race caution, but that did it right there. Parker Retzlaff spun Ryan Sieg. They had some words exchanging after the race, but
Jeremy Clements and Chandler Smith had a beef
Yeah, that's right.
on Twitter, which was pointed out. Another reason nobody passed. If I can go back to Shane real quick, nobody passed Shane under green flag. Somebody posted a graphic, and there were zero green flag passes of Shane Van Gisbergen in this race, which then kind of kicked off the Jeremy Clements Chandler Smith beef, where Chandler Smith was like, "But look, I passed like 51 cars under green," and then Jeremy Clements is like, "Well, you cleaned at least 4 of them out at one point." And we saw a weird glimpse into some SMT video, SMT data, where the SMT animation shows that Chandler Smith took a pretty aggressive angle into turn 11, and then Jeremy Clements came out on the bad end of that one.
Yeah.
But it counts as 4 green flag passes for Chandler Smith. That's what NASCAR road racing does. You take cars that are too big for the track, they're hard to handle, and you put them out there, and they create poor relationships, and it creates drama that we then see get taken out. Jeremy Clements is not going to race Chandler Smith the same. Chandler Smith leading at the end of the race, Jeremy Clements last car in the lead lap. Guess who's going to be very difficult to pass? Guess who could lose the race because Jeremy Clements is very difficult to pass? It's just how the nature of the beast. That's how NASCAR goes, and that's why we love sprinkling in these road course races into NASCAR.
Yeah, adds it's a wild card for sure, and it adds some excitement and some hurt feelings. But the highlight of the day, Shane Van Gisbergen wins second race in a row, back to back. Awesome to see. And then once again, drifting around the track, but not only by himself, right next to his new rival of Austin Hill.
Best friends.
Best friends, and I love it. Shane was on Stacking Pennies this week, and he was kind of talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I saw Hill tell me that I'm number one, so I just started drifting right behind him and right next to him just to get in his head." And I was like, "Oh, I love
Oh my
this guy
God.
even more." So,
Wow.
best celebration I think ever.
Yeah.
Right behind the Dale Earnhardt Daytona 500 celebration. This is one A.
He just lagged behind him and just sat behind him again. I think it's a little bit cocky.
It was
But
great.
I mean, it's why we love. People ask me all the time. They're like, "You watch cars go in circles for 3 hours a day? Like, what do you?" And it's just like, this is so hard to explain to them about why it's fun to watch, because these guys do this week in and week out and build these relationships, positive or negative, and it comes to a head like this, where you get a guy who thinks he had a win stolen from him at Coda, and now he's gonna burn out in your face when he beats you in Sonoma. And this is one of the many reasons why I love watching racing of any kind, but specifically homegrown American NASCAR.
Damn straight, buddy. Well said. So, congrats to Shane Van Gisbergen. Hell of a victory. Going to be seeing him at the WeatherTech facility on Thursday. He's doing a meet and greet. So, I'm printing out that picture of him drifting next to Austin Hill, and I'm going to have
Oh
him
my
sign
goodness.
it.
Listen, if they have like WeatherTech sponsor merch or Shane Van Gisbergen WeatherTech, I've looked online. I wasn't really successful in finding it, but your boy's a large. If you could help me out, I got a shirt for you from Charlotte that I still got to get out to you. But
there we do.
They got something.
A fair trade.
If they got something out there, I will take one, please. Because again, I was a fan immediately after the street race, but just seeing him when he comes out of the car, he tells you what he's thinking. He's happy about racing, whether he finishes first or 21st. Like, he's just a joy to watch. And I'm sad. Again, I'm sad. I said it last week, and they told me that supercars at supercar, like what is it, streaming sponsors or streaming subscription isn't all that expensive. I'm just sad I did not know this series existed too much before Shane showed up in my life.
Yeah,
We'll be looking into
clips. I have seen clips of supercars before, but never really got into it. And
right
now I'm really I got my eyes set on it. I'm really
hey man,
ready to watch
what's
it.
one more racing series to watch? That's where I'm at. It's like I just got a Max subscription, which has MotoGP. I might try to start watching some motorcycles. Still haven't pulled the trigger on Flow Racing, but maybe I'll just do that, and maybe I'll just become a real racing nerd as opposed to this fake racing nerd that I am, sitting in my racing simulator as I do this racing podcast.
Right. Fake. Alrighty, so let's move on to the Cup Series on Sunday. Joey Logano won the pole for this race. Man, oh man, poor Denny Hamlin. Lap
Woof.
2. Car just blows up on the front
Here's
stretch there.
here's
That
my
sucks.
my Fox complaint number one of the Sonoma Cup race. They made very little note that Denny was the points leader going into this race and how important this was to the point standings. Like again, you have if Max Verstappen in F1 blows up, kind of like he did in Australia, he was out on lap 5. They were talking about that the whole race. That it would have been major implications. The points leader blows up on lap 2 at a big race, and they're like, oh, that sucks. Anyway,
Here's
come
Clint
on.
talking to some drunk idiots at their
Yeah, come
RV.
on. Come on, Fox. Come on.
Yeah.
Please. I'm so glad we're done. I'm so glad we're done.
No offense to the guys that they do the tailgate kings, but I just
Yeah.
hate Fox so much.
Yeah. And again, the other news is that this is the last week of Fox Race Hub.
I didn't even watch it today.
Yeah, no, they're done. I mean, I honestly haven't watched it in years, which is kind of the point, is that I don't think anybody's watching it. But Fox just signed on a 7-year TV deal, and they're divesting from the sport. And now we're stuck with them for 7 more years. When we're in rain delay, there's no more going back to the Fox studios, to the Fox NASCAR studios to watch coverage.
They don't go and like remember when they used to interview the drivers like
Mm-hmm.
outside their motorhomes and like they would go inside and just have fun
Yeah.
with them. They don't do that anymore. All they
Yeah.
do is like show last year's race or they'll just
Right.
do some stupid stories from Race Hub. It's
You have Dale Jr. talking about how they've been working for months already, getting Turner and Amazon ready to take on the monstrosity that is covering NASCAR and all this stuff, and taking note from the fans. And then Fox is just divesting and showing us bad cuts and just poor quality stuff. And again, this was the first of many examples. Denny Hamlin blows up. They're like, well, Denny Hamlin blew up. That's crazy. We never see this.
anyway.
What does it mean for the rest of the league? What does it mean for the points? What does it mean for this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
Take us deeper. Show me, please. There's people watching that don't understand that context. You and
Yeah.
I understand. Holy shit,
That
that's the
was
points
huge.
leader.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That this is crazy, and especially in this era where engine blowups never happen.
Yep.
And they're just gonna gloss over it anyway.
It didn't surprise me really that much. That's just
No,
how
honestly,
Fox has
nothing
been.
Fox does surprises me.
No. Yeah, so anyway, poor Denny Hamlin, that sucks. Will Brown, one of
He
our
dropped two spots in the points
yikes.
because of this. I mean,
Not
again,
good.
that not Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson missing the 600, erased, done.
Yeah.
Which is wild that easily Kyle Larson can come over the race or overcome missing the race that pays out the most points. Kyle Larson is damn good, and it's scary. It's scary.
That's for damn sure, man. All right, so moving on, another one of our Australian supercar drivers. We had 2 of them this weekend, and one of them, Will Brown, ended up spinning Martin Truex in one of the turns, and MTJ, I guess you could say, had some choice words for him and a bunch of the other guys that are running around him. I'm gonna leave
Yeah.
that to you guys to see what he said.
There's videos on Twitter.
Yeah, there
Go
is.
find
So
them.
we'll see what happens if there's gonna be any
Martin Truex is
sensitivity
going to have
training.
an email from NASCAR saying that you have one new sensitivity training module to complete. It takes an hour. You can do it. Good job. Go ahead.
Yep. So we saw that happen with Kyle Busch a few years ago with that post-race interview. So
Mm-hmm.
yep, it'll happen. Happen to Denny Hamlin with a tweet. So yep, moving on.
Yeah, Joe Gibbs Racing had a tough time. This was the second driver to be made a victim of on-track shenanigans of
Yeah,
this race in only stage 1.
right.
Let's see what else happens.
Yeah, moving on. Ty Gibbs
Oh, another Joe
hits
Gibbs Racing
yeah
driver.
hits the wall in turn 11. That's where the
The new
tire
wall that I am
barriers used to be.
100% about.
Yeah, I'm
I
all
love that
for it.
wall. Good
Yeah,
job.
I like
Good
it.
job.
But Ty Gibbs, he did not like it. He hit the wall, basically blew his tire, and then he slammed into the wall, ending his day early.
Ouch.
So yeah, Tom, like you said, rough start to this race for the Joe Gibbs drivers. I'm sure Bell was shaking in his boots.
Hmm. I mean, every Joe Gibbs racing driver dropped at least one position in the point standings. Even Christopher Bell, who had a top 10, I believe.
Yeah, not a good weekend
Oh
for
no, he didn't have a top 10. Where did he finish? Oh, he finished 15th.
he
Yeah,
was a part of that big wreck with Josh
that's right.
Berry.
That's right.
Yeah, so Chase Briscoe spins, causing Logano to wreck into him,
No
and
mercy. If I'm
yeah,
suffering as a Kyle Busch fan, then Joey Logano fans could suffer too.
yeah, he
It
has
was a
not been having a great season.
again, it was, and Harvick said it in the booth, it was a great strategy call. We don't look at the next gen road course races. Stage 1 and stage 2 in this race was crazy anomaly. Usually they go green, hit the stage, go green, hit the stage, green to the end. That's why people don't like these next gen races. But this race, with all these incidents early, shook up the strategy. These guys were flying by the seat of their pants all day. And again, it's unfortunate because Joey Logano put on the pole, track position so important. You'd think, wow, he's going to have speed. He's going to run up front all day. Potentially could get the win. And he didn't make it happen because they made one strategy call they thought was right and then got caught up in an incident in the back of the field. It's unfortunate, but it doesn't mean I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I agree with you right there, Tom. So Tyler Reddick wins stage one. Just a great road course racer. He was doing well throughout
Yeah.
this entire race. And then Josh Berry, he hits the wall after a bad block on the 43 of Eric Jones, and then he just sends it into turn 11. Calamity and causing a bunch of guys to spin. Good thing is, no one really had any threatening damage to their cars. It was just kind of small hits. These composite bodies can take it.
Another point, we made this note about the Jesse Love incident in the Xfinity race. I don't think this incident needed a caution. I really don't. There's enough space. Nobody was
Mm,
stuck anywhere.
yeah, it was just
Let and
everywhere
it
in that
was the
turn.
first lap. It was the first or second lap of restart. It's not like the guys are fully spread out. There was going to be no opportunity for those guys to get going. I understand there were a lot of cars in it, but if anything, this incident creates just another stack up, another opportunity for this to happen when they restart the race. I think William Byron had a toe link broken, which would have been awful to come all the way around the track.
Yeah,
But I really don't think this needed a caution. There wasn't fluid anywhere.
really
Nobody
no
was stuck.
debris.
The
Yeah,
cars were all fired up and going again. Like a little bit quick on the trigger for my liking.
yeah, a little bit. I gotta
Again,
agree,
if
but I can
if
see
I can
why
have
they
a
threw it.
throwback to Atlanta when they're in the middle of a pit cycle and two guys nose it into the wall entering pit road and they don't throw a caution, and you're telling me this was a caution, like I call BS.
That's
I
just
don't think this was
NASCAR being
I
as
don't think this was
consistent as they can
necessary.
be.
I don't think this was necessary, and I don't
Yeah,
know if I've seen too much talk about that.
yeah. I haven't seen. You're really the first guy that kind of I've heard talk about it. All right, so moving on, Noah Gragson, Austin Cindric, they wreck. Noah got loose out of the turn. And they spin, hit the wall. No serious damage for them. Michael McDowell joined
Mike
them as well.
McDowell had what looked like pretty significant damage, but they were really able to overcome that, which
Yeah,
was good for them. Which again, these cars are strong. You can bang them around.
yep. That's what I love about these composite bodies,
I
man.
mean, and if Michael McDowell makes that hit in the Gen 6, his whole nose is
Yeah,
caved in.
it's
His
over.
radiator's probably exploded. His day's probably done.
Yep.
Same with that Josh Berry wreck. A lot of those guys would have been a
All of it.
massive cleanup if
All
that
of
wreck
them would have been
happens in the
done.
Gen 6. Yeah, like you're all done.
Yep.
This car is strong and resilient. I mean, Chase Briscoe had his whole rear end ripped off
But
and he came back out on the track and was
yeah,
fine.
he was still able to run. That's what I love about these next gen cars, man. They can just still run even if they take a fucking beating. All right, so Chris Buescher, he wins stage two. Great points. Hopefully he'll get that win soon to point himself into the playoffs.
Yeah, and
Um,
again, these cautions in the first half just shook up the whole thing. I
yeah,
was so happy that like Kyle stayed out to get those stage points and whatnot. I mean, he missed out on them in stage one, but the strategy was was there for stage 2. He got 4th in the stage, and it was really a good points day, all things considered.
Yeah, chaos worked out for the guys who needed points the most. And then we had Truex and Chris Buescher battling for the lead with 10 to go. This was a hell of a battle, but this was just leading up to Kyle Larson joining in the battle and then taking the lead away from Martin Truex Jr. And poor Truex. Kyle Larson wins the race just 1 week after he was given his waiver. So good to see. But Martin Truex Jr., he looked like he was going to be finishing second, then coming close to the finish line, just runs out of gas from second to 27th, just like that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
In
He still finished.
incredible.
He inched his way to the finish line.
Which here's something that Fox did well. Larry Mack said lap 70 is when you can pit to go in there. And I saw these guys come in at lap 67, 68. It's like, are they gonna make it? And I had that thought out loud when that first group of guys, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, and Chris Buescher, I think they all came in at the same time. I was like, these guys aren't gonna make it. They're 2 laps short. 2 laps is a long way to go at a road course. And lo and behold, Martin Truex coming around as I praise Fox for laying out that story, and I shit on Fox because Martin Truex is sitting 15 feet from the finish line, and they're cutting around to Kyle Larson's in-car cam, and they're cutting around to fans in the track cheering. It's like, at least put it in a 2-box.
Yeah.
It's like, how many cars are passing Martin Truex? He's sitting there. It's kind of a blind quarter coming around there. What happens if somebody just comes in and cleans him out?
I want to
What
see
is
that.
going on? Yeah, Fox, I'd like to see this, please. Like, come on, guys. There's stories happening on the track other than the winner. Get over yourselves.
I feel like, yeah, Fox just doesn't pay attention to the story. Like you said at the beginning of the Cup race review, they didn't give 2 shits about how the points were affected from Denny Hamlin
Mhm.
blowing up. And they
I mean,
didn't
this
give two
affected Martin
shits about,
Truex
yeah, they didn't give
in
two
the
shits
points
about that
too.
either. It's
Tyler
like
Reddick
they're
jumped
only
2
there for,
spots in the points.
yeah, they're
It's
only there to paint a
wild.
pretty picture, and that's it. That's really all they're there to do.
I did love all the videos of the crowd and the PA announcer cheering Martin Truex on as Martin Truex is sitting in the car using the starter motor to roll this car ever so slowly across the line. You know he's pissed off at the crowd for cheering for him right there, and the crowd erupts.
Dude,
What a
props to the
mess.
flag man. That
Well,
was just, dude, he was going ham until Truex crossed that
he's
line.
like, he was like, "Are you serious?" That was like a 3-minute and 15-second lap for Truex, by
Yeah,
the way, which is that might be a lap record of a different kind.
yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure I could take a Reliant Robin and try to full send it around that track, and I would have beat Martin Truex's last lap. And if you don't know what a Reliant Robin is, it's an old British car that has 3 wheels, but in the wrong way. It's got 1 wheel in the front and 2 in
Yeah.
the back. So if you go around a tight corner, it tips over,
Oh,
and
let's get a racing series of those things.
it makes like 15 horsepower. So, um, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could run one of those things around Sonoma faster than Truex finished that last lap. I also think it's funny that Truex can finish on the lead lap, even though he finished 2 minutes and 15 seconds, 2 minutes and 5 seconds, 2 minutes and 5 seconds after Larson, the leader,
Yeah,
comes across. But
it
he
was,
can't get lapped out because the race is over.
yep. It was
So
pretty funny because like literally right when he crossed the finish line is when Chase Elliott pulled up to like his spot to like
yeah,
get out of his car
Chase
on
Elliott
pit
had done a
road.
cool down lap and had a drink of Coca-Cola before Truex could finish his race.
So a bad day turns into a worse day for Martin Truex Jr. So you got to see how this is going to affect his retirement story here as we'll continue to look into
I
this.
I don't think so. Here's a bold take. I think Martin Truex retires after this season, but it's not because this race. I just think he's
Oh no,
done.
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say like this is gonna be a
Hmm.
factor of him being like, man, I fucking hate
Yeah,
this shit.
yeah. I mean, again, it's the Richmond race getting taken away. He's 5th in points.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't. It's not like he's underperforming where he
Oh
needs to
no.
retire. But I think it just feels about right for Martin to hang up. He has nothing to
Yeah.
prove.
Go out before you take the Jimmy Johnson route. You're fighting for
Hey, hey,
20th in
hey! You know my
points.
feelings on the Jimmy Johnson route, as you say.
Well, I'm not saying the 84 Jimmy Johnson. I'm
Oh,
saying
okay,
48
okay.
Jimmy Johnson struggling from
Yes,
2018 to 2020.
yes. Do that. Do that,
Yes.
Martin. Do that,
Yes.
Martin. And then come back buy into Richard Petty Motorsports as well, and then come race whenever you want. We'll be happy to have you.
Oh man, Legacy is just going to be co-owned by every single NASCAR
All
driver.
post champion.
Yeah.
That's why Denny had to start his own
Trevor
team.
Bayne.
And Trevor Bayne.
Yeah.
But that's why Denny had to start his own race team, because he can't join into the Legacy.
Right. It's got no legacy to write.
Nope.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna take.
Hold on. What
Okay.
about? You said Martin Truex had a poor day, made it worse. What about a good day? I can't believe you didn't have this in the notes ready to line up. Turn 4, final lap. Ross Chastain.
Oh,
Kyle Busch.
that's right.
I'm ready. Do you see this stuff behind me? I'm ready to talk about Kyle Busch. You know I am.
Yeah. So
Oh,
man,
the
you
camera's
set it
running.
up perfectly right there.
So-
Ross Chastain got in the Kyle Busch last lap.
I'm so upset because this was such a good day for Kyle Busch. And like, man, I'm grasping at how far I've fallen to be like, yes, maybe a top 6. Kyle Busch, we're back. No, but oh my God, Ross did not need to do that. But then I listened to Actions Detrimental, and he literally pulled up the data and said that Kyle was sputtering entering turn 4. Ross still should not have cleaned him out.
Yeah.
But Kyle was slow. Kyle was going to get past. I still believe, and maybe this is my own bias, whatever. I believe that if Kyle doesn't spin and have to restart his car and then speed off, I still think he comes across the line. Maybe he's sputtering, but he comes across the line 7th, 8th. Yeah, maybe he's running low, but I think having to spin that thing around and restart and that used just that much more fuel. And now it made him finish 12th. Came across the line 17th, but I think there was some shenanigans with the caution. I think NASCAR gave him a break. Like, yeah, he was going fast enough to hold his position, even though he got passed by 5 guys coming across the line. I still don't like it. We got Chastained, and I'm going to take that to my grave. We got Chastained.
Yep, one of the many. So welcome to the club, buddy.
I'm pretty sure we've been here before. I've lost count, but of who all's been Chastain, but I'm pretty sure this is the second time. But yeah,
yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys have had a run-in before.
It's so unfortunate to watch your driver have a really good day, and then for him to just crawl across the line after getting taken out. Like, it's that my heart was broken. I mean, he was running top 5. He was right there. He was never threatening for the lead. He wasn't going to go take it over. But man, just the air got sucked out of me when I saw them cut to that camera of Kyle like spinning himself back around. I was like, what could have possibly happened?
Yep.
And self-spin wasn't out of the question.
Self-spin
wasn't out of the question with Kyle. But I was pretty sure he didn't self-spin. And then I see the replay getting cleaned up by the one. And the fact, honestly, with Chastain's reputation, no matter how little it's happened recently, with the one car's reputation, I was happy to be like, yep, that's Chastain. Nothing else could have possibly happened, even though he came across the line out of gas.
Yeah.
But Kyle was obviously very happy with all the results as he pulled into the wrong side of pit road and then walked away before any of the media could get to him. So,
that's Kyle.
Even when we have a good day, it seems to be a bad day, and our no good, very rotten, horrible season. Yeah. And I'm still a fan, and I'm still rooting for you, buddy. Rowdy Nation is strong behind you.
It's been a rough month for you guys, man. Ready to move on.
Yeah. Well, we're going to Iowa, and nobody has data on that. And hopefully that'll be a good thing.
Yep. We shall see. So, guys, when we come back, we're going to be previewing Iowa with the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. So, stay tuned. right, guys, welcome back to Stock Car Spectacle. We are going to be previewing Iowa right now. We're going to start off with the Xfinity Series. We got the Hy-Vee Perks 250, 219-mile race, 250 laps. Stages 1 and 2 will be 60 laps each, and the final stage will be 130. Last race for the Xfinity Series at Iowa Speedway was in 2020. Ford has the most wins with 4, and some notables in this one. We got Brett Moffitt. He'll be in the 19 for Joe Gibbs. Nemechek will be in the 20 for Joe Gibbs, and Ross Chastain, he will be in the 92 for DGM. So we're going to start off. Nick is not on the show, but he still gave me his picks. He is going for low-hanging fruit here. He's going with John Hunter Nemechek. Just his explanation, just experience. The kid's just good in these Xfinity Series cars.
Yeah, I like it, but I'm a little concerned because again, I picked him last week at Sonoma because for similar reasons. He's in a Joe Gibbs car and he's really good in these cars. He never really showed up. We didn't really hear about him at all during last week, but he's raced at Iowa before in these cars, and I still think it's a good explanation for it. Something we also have to watch out for at Iowa is this half repave that they did around the corners. A big old bit around the bottom lane and slightly less bit around the middle lane, and then nothing around the top. So we'll see how that affects the drivers going forward.
I guess their explanation was because it was so late that they decided to put Iowa into the schedule that they didn't have time to repave the entire track
Like,
because
oh
it was
shoot,
going to
we got
get
a
cold.
repave. It
Oh, just
snows
shoot
in
half of it.
Iowa, right? It's because these people are from North Carolina. They don't know what winter actually does.
Yeah.
We're both from the Chicago area. We know that they do construction whatever they want. So like, I don't know.
Dang.
It's sure NASCAR. You're just gonna make the product worse because everybody's gonna go find the grippy new track and not go anywhere else. But
Just another
awesome,
NASCAR W.
good work,
But
good work.
but who you got winning on Saturday in Corn Country, buddy?
I think I need to go with the Joe Gibbs car as well, but I'm gonna go with Chandler Smith. I think it's just his time. I feel like I remember him running well here. Maybe I'm making it up, but I just think it just feels right. Seemed like the thing.
I don't
Seems
know if
like the
he's
thing to
run
do.
here. I don't know.
In
He wasn't.
trucks?
No, because last truck race was 2019 at Iowa, and I don't know. I don't even know if he was in the Truck Series then.
Well, then I'm just picking on my ass. Why not? Chandler
he
Smith, Joe Gibbs Racing. He's been slowly building up his confidence again in these Toyotas,
won
and why not?
Phoenix.
Yeah,
Pretty, kind of a similar track.
exactly. There you go. You're making better connections than I am.
I'm here to help you out, buddy. My pick, I'm going with you guys, man. I gotta go with the Joe Gibbs driver, and I'm going with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brett Moffitt. He's actually bringing a sponsor with him this weekend, which is pretty rare to see
He
him
made a
do.
profit.
Yeah,
Wow.
as my dad likes to call him, no profit Moffitt. Made a profit this weekend. He's going to be running this race. Won the last 2 races here at Iowa Speedway in the Truck Series. Really good at these shorter tracks. So, yep, I'm going for no profit Moffitt. Let's
And
go, baby.
you'll buy yourself a Destiny home when he wins, I
There you
guess.
go. How about that?
Cool.
All right, so let's move over to Sunday for the Iowa Corn 350. This is the inaugural Cup Series race at Iowa Speedway, and I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Went there and
Congrats to them. Really, really awesome what they put on there. I mean, we see it with IndyCar when they go out there. The place absolutely fills up. I expect nothing less with the Cup Series going there.
yeah, it's a great facility. Me and Nick went there in 2019 for the K&N and Xfinity Series weekend. Got to see Chase Briscoe and Sam Mayer actually won that NASCAR K&N race, so that was pretty
There you
cool to
go.
see young Sam Mayer.
Before you
But
knew who he was, I bet.
yeah, right. That was the first time I ever heard his name. Like, what the fuck is this kid? And now we're hearing about him every week. But cool to see that. So yeah, first race at the 7/8 mile, another weird kind of configuration that we got here.
It's like
Yeah,
Richmond with higher banks, right?
yeah, pretty much.
But it's a little bit longer. Still that short track feel though, and
Yeah, pretty
it's a
much.
goofy little track.
Yep. Right off the highway there, right in the middle of cornfields. It's pretty much what you would expect out of Iowa Speedway. But yeah, I have been hoping for this day for a long time that they would go Cup Series racing here. I always thought they would put on a great product, and here we are. So gonna see this. This race is replacing the beloved Auto Club Speedway. Rest in peace. So this will be 306 miles, 350 laps. Stage one will be 100 laps, and the final two stages are 125 laps.
I don't like what
Um,
they're doing with shorter first stage, longer second and third stage. I think
yeah,
that
I like that. Keep the strategy up for the last two stages and don't make things all wonky.
frankly they should be messing with these stage lengths every time they go to any one of these tracks. Make the middle one the longest, make the first one the longest, so you really mess up the strategy for these guys every time they go out to the track.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Keep everybody on their
Uh,
toes.
yeah, absolutely, man. So Nick's pick, he's got Christopher Bell. Bell was pretty damn good here in the Xfinity Series. We saw him almost win that race when we went there in 2019, but I think he slammed into the wall or something. I think he had a tire go down, and Chase
Mm.
Briscoe ended up winning that race.
Which we've seen Christopher Bell. I mean, he was successful until his engine gave up at Gateway. Obviously, won Phoenix.
Hmm.
This track's going to be kind of leaning, we think, towards those, especially with the repave. So I think that's an excellent pick.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go next. My pick is going to be Brad Keselowski. He's known to be quite the ace at Richmond Raceway. Has not finished outside the top 15 at Richmond since 2015. He's got a few wins there as well. The track is very, very similar to Iowa Speedway. And Brad's just been on a roll this season. He finally got that first win, and it was at Darlington. And that's kind of a shorter track, a little bit hard to race
Yeah.
on.
I mean, that's a
Um,
driver's track for sure.
yeah, driver's
And
track.
and when we're going to a place that we haven't gone to before, I mean, some of these cut veterans don't know where they're don't even know where Iowa is on the map.
Hmm.
And then so you're just going to a place that's new, and so you're going to look to the guys that just kind of know, have turned more laps in their lives in general.
But we got 50 minutes of practice this weekend for both Xfinity and Cup, so thank God. I mean, that's how it should be.
I'm changing my. Kyle Busch is going to win. Dang, give me some practice.
Yeah, man, there you go.
No, but I can't do it. I have to go with the truth. And as
And the
much
truth hurts.
and the truth will hurt sometimes. Um, but it seems that every time we show up to a new place, one driver comes out on top. And I saw it firsthand when I went to the first Coliseum race. And I have great pause because it pains me to put this name in my put these words in my mouth. But Joey Logano will win Iowa. Joey
So
Logano is going to win Iowa,
it's okay,
and that's
man.
that's my pick for the race. I'm
Uh,
actually crying here. Um,
I know, man. I'm
he just
scared
shows
too.
up when nobody has any notes for whatever reason. The 22 car, the 22 team figures it out, and that's going to suck because it's not going to help my guy's playoff picture,
Yeah.
who is the first one out of the bubble, 8 points. But Joey Logano is also out of the bubble, slightly behind Kyle. So
Yeah.
it's just going to move Kyle yet another place down. And yeah.
But that's what Joey does, man. I saw him do it
Mm-hmm.
at the inaugural race at Gateway. We saw him win North Wilkesboro when they repaved it. I swear there's another track, new track that we went to that he
Mm-hmm.
won. I can't think of it. But yeah, man, that's what he does. He's
I think he was the first one to win the championship of the next gen, wasn't he? Was he the first
22.
one?
Yeah, 2022 was
Yeah.
the first year next gen.
Yeah, which he won that championship.
Yep.
So when this new car goes to new places, Joey Logano does well. And I'm
That
having
he
an existential
does.
crisis right now.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
why. I picked Joey Logano to win a race in public.
yeah, that's
I'm a
that's the problem with doing this
okay.
show, man. Sometimes you gotta go against your heart.
All things being fair, we do like to keep it fair. At
Yeah.
least we think we try to as well. We have some fun here, but
Sometimes we'll
again,
be
I
homers.
yeah, I'll be a homer to the day I die, but I'm gonna keep it real. And I genuinely was thinking about this all week, and I was like, yeah, Joey Logano is gonna be able to do this. And it's gonna be fine. I'll survive. I will make the playoffs, he'll win a race. I have to believe that. But this week at Iowa is not that week. This week is for Joey Logano and Joey Logano fans.
Yep. Totally believe that. But man, we both picked Ford. They have been on the uptick lately.
Yeah, which
They
is their
had
memo.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They kind of seem to struggle in the beginning of the season. It was a little bit more exaggerated this year with the new car, but they have found some speed for
Yep.
sure.
Summer speed. Gotta love to see it for Ford. But man,
Mhm.
before we close out the show, you got anything else to add?
I'm just excited to see the product at Iowa, and hope we have yet another great weekend.
Yeah, man. Totally agree. Like I said, I've always wanted this. I've always wanted the Cup Series at Iowa Speedway, and now we finally got it. It's gonna be on Father's Day. Gonna be a night race too, which is weird for a Sunday. It's like 6 o'clock start, so whatever. I'll be on the couch with my dad watching it, and hopefully we'll see
I'll
a good product.
I'll be working and then watch it until midnight, like I always do, turning off the Twitter notifications so I don't get anything spoiled for me.
There you go, man. I'll make sure not to text you.
It On a side note, it's so funny that I'll get random Snapchats from friends that don't like racing, like, "Oh, look at this race that I found on TV." Like, "Stop! I haven't watched it yet." Or
Right.
one of my coworkers will come up to me. They did this weekend. I watched the first stage of Sonoma, and then I had to go to work, and then I didn't get off. And my coworker came up to me. He's like, "I saw that Kyle Busch. He wasn't running so well. Like, what's going on with him?" And I was like, Are you kidding me, man? Like, I
Shut
haven't
up.
watched yet. Please, respectfully, stop." Like, it's like, I'm so happy to talk about NASCAR or racing in general anytime, any place,
But
except
not
for
when
when I
you're
haven't seen this week's race yet.
yeah, when you got it
I
recording, you
oh,
gotta block out
I
the
I
haters.
turn off my social medias. I try my damnedest to not read text or not read like race result notifications yet. Like, I want to be just as surprised as if I'm watching live, and it's so hard when people I don't expect to talk about racing come up to me and start talking about racing. So that's just the existence right now. That's what I get for picking a job that works on weekends. And I watch all the races late, but I still watch everyone flag to flag.
There you go. As the great Kevin Harvick once said, that'll put you in a kerfuffle.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hey, that's the you ask if I have anything else to say. NBC is back this week.
NBC is
And
back. Get
we'll see them take this race so seriously, and it's just gonna be nice. It's gonna be so good.
if I hear Blake Shelton's bringing back the sunshine, I'm gonna die of happiness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what their opening's gonna be, but we're gonna get that classic NBC thing. I have it
Yeah,
in my liked songs mix on Spotify, so every once in a while, I just get teased with the dun dun, and it's like, oh my
there
god,
you go.
NBC's here. It makes my heart happy. So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to Joey Logano winning another first inaugural race somewhere, but I am looking forward to NBC calling said race.
And hearing Rick Allen's beautiful voice. Oh, cannot
But
wait.
not Dale's. Sad.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Unfortunate, but we do get Brad Doherty in the booth, which I'm excited. He's pretty
Mhm.
fun in the booth.
I'm cautious though about having fun. I was all gung ho for Clint Boyer to show up in the Fox booth, and I regret being gung ho about that because I just don't think he fits.
Yeah.
Imagine Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Jamie McMurray. Oof,
Well,
oof.
and then
I just got
Mike Joy.
chills about how awesome and serious that race could be.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got chills.
Just have
That'd
Mike
be-
Joyce send off one more year, and then Adam
Mhm.
Alexander takes that top spot.
There we go.
Oh,
There we
I would
go.
love it. But yeah, this was the last Xfinity Series race for Fox Sports. They're moving over to
Yeah,
the CW next year,
I'm
and
also worried about that, but
yeah, I'm worried about Adam Alexander. Where is he going to go? Is he going to be going with them at the CW? Is he going to be staying over at Fox? Maybe work with trucks, or are they going to? I don't know because they don't have Race Hub
I would
anymore. You
I
can't
would
be a
see
host.
I would see Alexander at CW. I'd be happy. I'd see him happy in the trucks.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's another part of the silly season that we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out about the broadcast booth silly season,
Yep.
and how all that gets affected. We still don't know who's gonna be working around Dale Jr. next year. We just know it's Dale at Turner. Maybe it's a one-man show. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see about that, but it should be fun. But guys, we thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure to like our video and subscribe to our channel, and make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram as well. And yeah, that'll wrap it up for us. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson,
I'm Tom Hobler.
and we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy Iowa.